Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Monday Huddle. We are pumped up to bring you all of these tools, all of these resources so that you can beat your Monday. Last week you got my wife Jay, she did an amazing time, but Derek is back and we are pumped to bring this to you yet once again. I'm G,
I'm Derek,
and here we go. What you got?
So before we start, we gotta gas up Lady J for stepping in. We really appreciate you as all good partners, sidekicks, teammates, spouses. They come in and they fill the gap and they support. So thank you so much for chiming in. I know this episode will probably take a dip because they're coming back expecting to see you again. But they got my face and they'll get used to it because they were used to it the first 4 episodes. So thanks again for chiming in. And for those of you that consistently watch, you know we always start every episode with a quote. And so here it is. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. That is our dear friend of the show, a long-time great philosopher, Margaret Thatcher. Can I call Margaret Thatcher a friend of the show?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if we can. I'll read it one more time. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Now, G, we keep coming across this fight.
Oh gosh.
And we keep talking about the fight, the struggle, the hardness, the obstacles of overcoming Mondays. And our dear friend Margaret Thatcher talks again. She says, you may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Why are Mondays such a battle?
You know, I don't know, and I was thinking about this, like, even this past week, as I was just kind of, doing my daily stuff, and I don't understand why Mondays has gotten such a bad rap.
Yeah.
And we're in a time now that culture is not a respecter of any day.
No.
Right?
No.
And so there's some people that do shift work, and Wednesday is their Friday.
Yeah.
Right? Saturday is their Monday.
Oh my gosh.
But somehow, that's a good question. I wonder if people that are off on like Monday, Tuesday, and go back to work Wednesday, is Wednesday their new Monday, and do they feel the same way about it?
I think Monday is the beginning. So I don't know that it's the same for everybody. Like, I think some people, their Monday is their Friday. I think Monday is just a placeholder for a start over. And I think that may be one of the reasons that the battle may be so hard to fight is because if you ever, I don't know how many of those of you out there watching are like fighters. I have been fighters. And me, I was never a fighter because I was always afraid of, like, if this dude do something to me and then I do something to them, are they going to come back and do something to me? And so it never ends.
Right.
And so to me, when I think about fighting, I never wanted to fight because I knew unless I just like permanently eliminated this person that they were going to keep coming back and fighting me. And I think that's the thing about Mondays, is that if you could beat Monday up one time and it would go away, it'd be different.
It's coming
Monday
back.
keeps coming
It's
back.
coming back.
You know, no matter what you do to dominate Monday one week, the next week, Monday's coming back again. So I think that's why this fight and this battle is so important to get it in our heads of how to deal with the bully Monday.
Yeah. Well, it takes us back to week 1, or the first Monday huddle that we did was making friends with Monday.
Ooh.
So
like
I don't know if we have to keep the terminology or the language of fighting Monday, right?
It feels like a opposition.
Yeah,
like
all the time.
We talked about making Monday our friend, right?
Yeah. So if we can take a different outlook, a lot of times this is what happens, that we fight against the things that we haven't conquered yet.
Okay.
So if you look at Monday like you've already conquered it, then you don't have to go in and fight it anymore, right? Like, think about MMA. I love mixed martial arts, and I have a brown belt in judo. Woo, boy. And so, and so when I beat somebody, I don't want to go back and fight them. You know why? Because I've already beat them one time, and it shows that I'm the superior.
Okay.
And if I go and fight them again, and they beat me, I lose that superiority over them.
Yeah.
So if we sit and constantly are under this pressure, I got to beat Monday. I got to beat Monday. This pressure of Monday. It's just like this cycle that Monday comes around again, and you're like, here we go again, I'm fighting.
Again. Yeah, have you ever had those people that whenever you hear their names, or like whenever their name pops up on your phone or somebody talks about them, you kind of get that feeling in your stomach of like, either you're annoyed by this person or you don't want to talk to this person. I feel like that's how we look at Mondays. Like when you hear the term Monday, it's like, like Monday again. Like Monday keeps coming back. Monday keeps asking for my discipline. Monday always wants something. Monday's expecting me to be great. Monday is like, if we could reframe the way that we talk about Monday, I thought about Monday, or our relationship with Monday, then are you telling me we will begin to anticipate Mondays?
You know, you were talking about, let me go back a little bit, because you're talking about somebody who rings your phone and you're just kind of like, oh my gosh. I went to New York this past weekend, right?
That's right.
And I went back to my old stomping ground in Brooklyn, East New York, and I went to visit my middle school, and I went to just check all that area out, and I was traveling with somebody.
Yeah.
And I was reminded there was this dude named Ian.
Ian?
Ian.
I-A-N?
Ian.
Okay, Ian.
Ian and I fought every year from the 3rd grade.
Oh my gosh.
Every year.
Yeah.
And I just got to the point when I got to middle school, I was so tired of this dude. I was at a place where I was just kind of like, I have to do something that doesn't allow this dude to come back.
Okay.
That sounds vicious, doesn't it?
It does. I'm excited to see where this story goes, by the way.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, no! Ah, okay.
When we went to high school, everybody went their separate ways. And in New York, you know, you get to choose, or you apply to a certain high school around town. If you're accepted, you get to go there.
Okay.
So we kind of went our separate ways after life, but I was reminded, I was like, yo, Ian tormented me for all of those years. Does Monday torment you?
Ooh, yeah, and it reminds me of a guy named Ralph. I mean,
that was your Ian.
I'm sure everybody has an Ian, everybody has a Ralph. I remember thinking, if I have to go to middle school with Ralph, I'm not going to school. I decided in 5th grade I was not going to 6th grade if I had to go to school with Ralph. And I think there are some people, some concepts, some days that torture us, that makes us want to skip over, go around, evade, elude, stay away from, avoid.
Right.
And I think that's oftentimes what we do on Mondays.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Mondays, they're there, and unless we square up, I remember my dad telling me, unless you just square up, you may lose, but like people don't want to keep coming up against somebody who keeps getting back up. That's why Rocky was so great. Right, Rocky just kept getting back up.
And the Russian was like, I will destroy you.
I will break you. I will break you. And you know, I know we don't want to take this approach of beating down and violent and having to do this thing to Monday, but I noticed that everybody that Rocky stood up to, eventually he won over.
That's right.
Like when we keep standing up to Monday, I think, because Monday, I think when we talk about like change or hard things, I oftentimes think that we attribute, like we give power and authority and space to those things.
That's right.
Those things are inherently just a day. They're just a Monday. It's just a Cheeto. It's just a treadmill. It's just a conversation.
Right.
And we build it up in our minds so much that they don't even have to do the work. We do the work for them.
That's right.
And so instead of Monday like standing in our way, we give Monday all of this power and this authority, and then we elude it and we evade it, when in actuality, Monday is just another day.
Listen, I was reading in a magazine on the birth process of the giraffe.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
And so a giraffe is tall. I forget how tall it is. I mean, it's tall. Right?
12, 15 feet.
So when they give birth standing up. And then it's a long drop.
Wow.
This little calf that comes out now of the womb.
Yeah.
It falls down to the ground. And the most amazing thing begins to happen. Right? The mama giraffe kicks the calf. And that thing goes flying a few feet. I mean, we're talking about a giraffe leg now kicking a little calf.
Right.
And the mama keeps doing this until finally the little calf stands up. And the legs are all wobbly, and you know the calf stands up at this point. I don't know if it's tired of getting kicked or what's the instinct, but the mama, boom, kicks it one more time, and the giraffe goes flying. And I became curious and was like, why is it that the mama, you know, it wasn't enough of a lesson for the giraffe to stand up she kicked it one more time because she wanted the calf to remember how it got up the first time. Right? And so the mama's mind, she understands that there is a king of the jungle, right? That if they're not careful, they could become lunch.
Yeah.
And so mama begins to teach the calf right away how to get up and to remember how to get up again. Wow. And I think that Mondays has done that to some of us, right? It's been kicking us, it's been kicking us, it's been kicking us.
Yeah.
We got to pay bills on Monday, everything opens up on Monday. We got to deal with issues. There's people that have had cars repossessed on a Friday after hours. Guess what they got to do?
You got to go work on Monday.
You get
on Monday.
You get arrested on a Friday evening.
You got to stay in till Monday.
Right?
Yeah.
And so Mondays has been kicking and kicking and kicking. And so some of us have gotten up and then we get kicked again and we're like, I can't get ahead.
Right.
And so when we get kicked again, we got to remember how we got up last time.
Ooh, that's really good. How do we get past last Monday? What do we do to get through the previous Monday? How do we set our week up with using the previous Monday? Like, what do we do? And I think sometimes we forget, which makes it feels like we got to start all the way over.
All the way over.
If we don't remember what we did the previous week to make it through, then sometimes it makes facing the next week even that much more harder.
Yeah.
And so that's important. And so when we think about getting up, for the last 5 episodes, we've been dropping tips on how to deal with this Monday, how to work with Monday, how to start the new week, make a list, plan on Sunday, dominate, make friends, all these different perspectives. When I think about the giraffe, if this giraffe does not learn how to get up, then ultimately that giraffe is lunch.
It's just going to sit there and potentially lose life. You know, the mama is now suffering the loss of a calf.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have to be all that we can be, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us.
Absolutely.
When you're a dad and you've gotten knocked down and you don't remember how to get back up, who takes a hit?
Yeah, everybody else.
Everybody
family,
in the home.
The kids, the bills, all of it.
So we all know that if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Nobody happy.
But dads help navigate the culture of the home.
Yeah.
We're the pillar, right? Not that I'm saying that we're dominant, we're superior. What I'm saying is that when dads are at a place healthy mentally, then we're able to help the family navigate to the place where it is that they need to go in partnership with the women and in partnership with the children. But when that is healthy, man, that family is going to thrive, is going to dominate.
And I think about when multiple people learn in different ways, then we all get to contribute to pot of learning.
That's right.
Right? And I think about the perspective that my wife has, the perspective that I have, the perspective that my dad and mom and her parents have, and aunties, uncles, and everybody is going through their own experience of how they came through something, how they do something, how they cook a meal, how they talk, how they problem solve, how they pay. Everybody's going through this learned experience. And I don't think Monday is the exception.
No.
I don't think that Monday is excluded from how we dominate the day or the week, how we befriend, how we coincide with, cohabitate, collaborate with Monday in order to make sure that not only our week and our months, but our years become successful experiences and we begin to anticipate instead of regret them.
Imagine this. Imagine if you got up Monday morning and you woke up and you're like, man, it's a clear indication that my life is not over yet.
Ooh,
right?
That's a perspective.
And every day really considering it as a gift. You know what I'm saying? You're in the present. We know that depression is when you're stuck in your past. Anxiety is when you're caught up with what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And we miss being present. I had to ask my wife for forgiveness one time because, well, multiple times,
but this one,
but this particular time, I had to ask for forgiveness because I'm never present, or I was never present.
Yeah.
And we would have conversations. I would have conversations with people, and the reality is I had no idea what they said because I'm thinking about what I got to do, what I got going on, what next steps I need to take, and I was never present. It was almost like I was there physically, but not there mentally. And I asked my wife for forgiveness, and I said, you know what? Forgive me for not being present sometimes. Forgive me for, you're talking and I'm not giving you the attention that you require as my wife, right? As my life partner, even my children. And I think that Mondays, if we look at it as another opportunity to really crank things up all over again and say, you know what? Today's a new week, a new day, a new hour for me to give my wife attention, for me to give my children attention, for me to kill it at the workplace, for me to launch new projects, for me to, if you can look at it from that perspective, it is a fight, but it's not like a fight that you feel like you can win or lose.
Yeah.
It's a fixed fight where you're going in and you're like, I already know I've already won.
Right.
You know?
So we're focusing on two primary words, but you just transitioned to our third word. Friend of the show, iconic, contributed to history and mankind, Margaret Thatcher. She said, you may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. But we just talked about wins. We've been talking about fighting, we've been talking about battles, but G just transitioned us to winning. How do you know, my friend, that you have won the day?
You know, I don't. That's a really good question, and I want to be careful how I answer because I don't ever want to come across as a know-it-all. You know what I'm saying? And so there's some times that I look at through a lens of perspective. You know, because you can make a lot of money in a day and say you won.
Ooh, preach.
Or
Here we go.
not make a lot of money that day, but maybe made some connections.
Yeah.
Or
is that still a win?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That it's all perspective.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't get to accomplish anything you wanted to accomplish that day, but then you went and spent the day with the kids impromptu.
Still a win.
You know what I mean? And let's say, for example, you know, you were getting ready to go to an amusement park and you were rained out, and now you get the opportunity to spend the day with your wife at the house.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you can sit and just kind of say, okay, this is an absolute win. I think it's all about perspective. And if we can change our perspective, then we can look at the win. And we can always look at negative. In anything, you could see negative. You know what I'm saying? But I think if we can look at perspective and the lens of it and say, you know what, whatever I put my hand to is going to win. Whatever I give my time to is going to win because you're attached to it. And whatever I'm attached to is going to win.
So I hear you say, I want to say it in a different way. I think that we can start out the day identifying some areas in which we'd like to win.
Yeah, that's good.
But if that thing does not pan out the way that we thought it was going to, being able to look at the day from the end and look back.
I love that.
Right? Using perspective can also establish wins along the way. And I think that's really good, man. Like, it fits the what is it called? It's like this little cliche little saying of I don't lose, I learn. Right? It's like like all I do is win. Like when people talk about this this winning perspective or this gaining perspective or this optimistic or this positive perspective, it's this concept of always trying to reframe, resettle these concepts of like, if it didn't turn out the way that I thought it was going to, I still got something.
That's right.
Right? Even if it rained out, if I got a flat tire, if this didn't pan out the way, then I have to find out a way to reframe it. And not just Mondays, right?
Yeah.
Every day, every encounter, every relationship, every opportunity, we are giving the chance to use our perspective to reframe what just happened. And I think that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, you have to look at opportunity in the face of opposition.
Ooh,
you know, and so when you look at companies during COVID that could not have people in the restaurant, you know, they began to do things outside. And they were killing it. You know what I mean? I'll brag on Chick-fil-A. You know, they were like a military and they're still doing what they were doing during COVID. You couldn't go in a restaurant. And so they put fans outside, they put an overhead, they put tents, all of the staff was outside. And they were out there with their little pads, how can I serve you? And so I think that when we look, I love that you said set goals. You have to have goals and aim, absolutely. But at the back end, we can either look back and say, man, I didn't hit my goals, or we can look back and say, okay, it didn't pan out the way I hope and anticipated. I ran across this barrier, these folks didn't respond, these folks turned me down, this issue happened, my car this. And so look back and look at the opportunities that you had in spite of the oppositions.
And I think the more we practice that, the better we become at not waiting for the end of the day or for the end of the week in order to have that perspective. I think if we can be so proficient and we can practice it so well that we can reframe it in the moment.
That's right.
I think sometimes I engage with people, and then after I leave the conversation, I'm like, man, I should have said, I wish I would have said, or I wish I would have did.
Guilty.
I know, and I'm at the end of the day, I'm like kicking myself in the pants, or maybe I said what I wanted to say, or maybe I didn't say, or whatever it is, I wasn't in tune or aware are in the practice enough to do it in the moment.
Yeah.
And so I waited to the end of the day or the end of the week to look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have done. But I think if we get in the habit of just kind of using that perspective, that positive perspective, that powerful perspective to see those obstacles as opportunities. That's not what you said. You said opportunities is what?
Look at the opportunities when there's opposition.
Yes, that. When we see the opposition as opportunities, then we get to use that moment and not wait for the end of the day to reframe it or to revisit it. I think that also allows us to be an example for others that are also trying to practice that as well.
That's right.
I know when I find somebody else that is tapped in and in tune to something that I'm not, I'm always looking. G has one-liners just out the wazoo, and he says it in a way that allows me to frame it and understand it so I can grab it in the moment, versus if he would have said, hey, you remember that conversation that we had earlier? And now I got to remember what we were talking about. And then you done come with this one-liner. I'm like, man, I wish you would have thought of that in the moment. But I think when we take that perspective and I'm not saying that because we do it in the beginning trying to project or in the back trying to reflect. I think that if we can have that perspective in the moment, we become so good at reframing, then we don't have to wait in order to see that as an opportunity.
That's right. So here's another one-liner, right? Positivity is a muscle.
Ooh, I like that.
Positivity is a muscle a lot of time, and negativity is a muscle also. And so which one are you working out?
Ooh,
right? Because if you're constantly in negativity and then want all of this positive stuff to happen in your life, and you're like, man, things don't ever work out. Well, you've been negative the entire time. These people ain't gonna do nothing. This is never gonna work out. Look at my life. And it's a muscle that you're building up. And then you're hoping that that whatever you're working towards now, after all the negative stuff, that this one time is going to shift. No, you've been planting a garden of negativity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now you're expecting like something positive to pop up. No.
Oh, that's good. And so when we think about Mondays, like I think the way that we think about, the way that we engage, our perspective when it comes to Mondays, it's going to be developed over time.
That's right.
Right? We can't talk about Monday on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. We talk about Monday like it's trash, like it's horrible on Saturday and on Sunday. And then when Monday actually comes, we're expecting some positivity to be there or a different perspective to be there. G just said our positivity and our negativity is a muscle. Which one are we working out?
That's right.
So I want us in this Monday Huddle community to practice flexing our positive muscles when it comes to Mondays. We are giving you all information, tips, tools, and tricks. We want to develop online and a physical community here of people that look at the beginning of the week as an opportunity to overcome opposition and actually befriend and make friends with Monday. We want to anticipate Mondays, but in order to do that, we have to make it a practice. And so Margaret Thatcher said sometimes we got to fight the battle multiple times over and over and over again to win it. But I don't want the focus to be the battle. I don't want it to be the fight. I want it to be the win.
That's right.
And the way that we win is by practicing a positive perspective throughout the week.
Yeah. So listen, leave a comment, give a little share, tag the little bell that you'll see right there on the subscription. I'm G.
I'm Derek.
And here is your week for the Huddle. Let's go. It's your Monday.